is full of options, switching all the time, but the quickest way from A to B is still a straight line. I ain't lying, that is science. I'm trying to explain, cause if you apply determination, you can do anything. You can't put your mind to. Give me the audio chord so I can find something to ride to. We're about to fly to another planet. Is magical, always be like it's intergalactic. The way you make me feel, let's dip, cause we can fly in my starship like Han Solo by the castle mine, like Cowboy Bebop with jet inspired, like Captain Kirk on the Enterprise. We can travel far like a Dharma did in a Battlestar. I'm flinging haters like a catapult. You feel the heat, take it off like what y'all gonna do? We'll cruise up among the stars. No matter what you do, I'll get you back up off the wall. Yes, sir. Keep your windows down. Breeze hitting, you didn't know, but you know now. I'm not kidding, there ain't no stopping. BSing is not an option. I just wanna see everybody rocking. I wanna see you getting higher than a rocket. Land a spacecraft with Neil and Buzz Aldrin. She in the cockpit, cruising at an altitude up there where all the stars live. Take the TARDIS back to Gallifrey, where the guardians of the galaxy, like Superman and Lois Lane, go to Cybertron on the Astro Train. I just want to see you do your thing. If you don't know now, then you'll learn. From the earth to the moon, influenced by Jules Verne. I'm not concerned about what y'all gonna do. We'll cruise up among the stars. No matter what you do, I'll get you back up off the wall. Yes, sir.
Packing up for another trip. If you drive by my way, relieve it, there's no rush to this. We can rock night and day. Intergalactic love for this. Take me to outer space. Pick me up on that mothership so we can fly away.
I get in trouble sometimes. You make me wonder where we're flying to the sun.
Are we going somewhere?
I get in trouble sometimes. You make me wonder where we're flying to the summer. I get in trouble sometimes. You make me wonder where we're flying to the summer.
Where we going, baby?
Ooh. I get in trouble sometimes. You make me wonder where we're flying to the summer. Like
What y'all trying to do?
hey, 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 hey. What y'all gonna do? We'll cruise up among the stars. No matter what you do, I'll get you back up off the wall. Yes, sir. Yo, life is full of options, switching all the time, but the quickest way from A to B is still a straight line. I ain't lying, that is science. I'm trying to explain, cause if you apply determination, you can do anything. You can't put your mind to. Give me the audio chord so I can find something to ride to. We're about to fly to another planet. Is magical, always be like it's intergalactic. The way you make me feel, let's dip, cause we can fly in my starship like Han Solo by the castle mine, like Cowboy Bebop with jet inspired, like Captain Kirk on the Enterprise. We can travel far like a Dharma did in a Battlestar. I'm flinging haters like a catapult. You feel the heat, take it off like what y'all gonna do? We'll cruise up among the stars. No matter what you do, I'll get you back up off the wall. Yes, sir.
Okay, everybody wants good love, that's true, I know. Derrick Jones about to break it down with the relationship gumbo. Welcome to the podcast. Ain't no doubt we all need this, ayy, cause better relationships need better ingredients, ayy. So if you want better relations, it's about communication, finding love, staying together. We all wanna make it better, yeah. Derrick Jones, the host, your relationship coach. Thank you all for tuning in. Relationship gumbo, ayy.
Hey, everybody, you know what time it is. It's the Relationship Gumbo Podcast live show. It's Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's where you need to be every single Wednesday because we have stuff going all year long. We don't take breaks. Sometimes I feel like it, but I love y'all so much. I got to keep coming back. So welcome, everybody. Hopefully, everybody's being safe, taking care of yourselves, taking care of your families. I see people coming in. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And tonight we have a special guest, an amazing woman that we are going to dig deep into this little topic about, you feel like you're doing everything and it just don't seem like it's landing with your partner. You just can't seem to connect. We're going to get into that and just talk about what it looks like, talk about some experiences we may or may not have, and just kind of, go through the motions. And people in the comments, y'all can comment and be a part of the show as well. So what I want you to do, first and foremost, is share. Invite people to come to this tonight. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you click the bell in YouTube to make sure that you get the notifications, because this isn't the only show you're gonna need to get notified of. It's gonna keep happening every Wednesday, like I said. So you got to keep coming back. So, without further ado, I do want to talk about two quick things, and then we're gonna get right into the show. Number one. Y'all notice that the show looks a little different. It's a little color change, a little brand change, a little logo change. We about to get into some new stuff this month. November's just started, and I'm excited, and I'm working on a lot of stuff behind the scenes, as you can see. So everything's new. Energy is new. The momentum is new, and we just gonna keep it moving. So first thing is, this is also an audio podcast, so it's gonna go to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, iHeart, Pandora, Amazon Music, everywhere basically you can get a podcast. I'm there. So if you want to listen to the audio, you can't get a chance to go live or look at the video, you can also go to the audio and listen to it at your leisure. Second thing, I'm also part of a 5-man team called The Real Shop Talk every Monday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We talk about men's issues. We talk about how we feel about things from a male perspective. This Monday is ladies' night, so we're going to have a lineup of ladies coming, and we're just going to talk about some things and let you hear it from 5 different men, 5 different perspectives, but we have the same mission. So make sure you come back for that. Go to realshoptalk.net and get the links to the previous shows, the new shows, and also links to all of our bios on Instagram so that you can go and see what we're doing individually as well. So, if you are here for the first time, what I normally do is I pause for 3 seconds, then I start the podcast, and at the end of the podcast, I pause for another 3 seconds so I can chop it off so you can have that good audio for you to listen to on your headphones when you're chilling. So, give me my 3 seconds and we're going to get it started. Welcome to another episode of the Relationship Gumbo Podcast. My name is Derek, and I am your host. I'm a certified life and relationship coach, an engineer, a strategist, and a mental health advocate. Because all of this relationship stuff, it starts here. So we gotta get there too. So this week we are talking about, I'm doing everything I'm supposed to, but I still can't connect with my partner. We just can't get it right, and I feel like I'm doing it all. So I'm not going to do this alone, ladies and gentlemen. I have a special guest coming up, and I'm going to bring her up here on screen, and we're going to introduce ourselves to her and her to us, and we're going to get started on this topic, so stand by. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Miss Angela Cherie is here.
Hello. You got it. Hello.
I got her name because I told her I keep wanting to say Sheree because of stupid old housewives, but I got it right. So, I want you to introduce. Well, let me say this first before I introduce you. So I was on Angela's show. Was it 2 weeks ago or when?
I believe it was last Tuesday.
Yeah. So I was on her show. Had an amazing time on her show, and I was like, I need to have her on my show. I always, whenever I meet people, I do a deep dive and look at all their content, and I was like, she's gonna be a perfect fit. Got a good title for her to chime in on, so we're gonna get it in. So Angela, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do, and we're going to get to it.
Yeah, so thank you so much for having me, Derek. I am Angela Cherie, the host of the Ever Evolving podcast and founder of Ever Evolving Women. By night, I guess you could say, and by day, I work in healthcare as a business operations specialist. And I'm just a girl who loves to talk about life and my experiences in the hopes that I can help someone else.
Amazing. That last part right there means everything to me, helping people and not
Yeah,
just thinking about ourselves. So let's get into this topic. And
let's
I'm
do it.
going to I'm gonna start it off, and then I'm gonna ask you a couple questions. I do have bullet points, but y'all know those are just guides. They don't know we don't always land on them. So so we're talking about situations where someone may be in a relationship and they're going through some tumultuous times, maybe with their partner. Maybe it's communication. Maybe they're not getting their love language fed, and you feel like you're doing everything you can, but it's just not. You can't get it right. The partner isn't receiving it well, um, and it's frustrating. I talk to a lot of people who are severely frustrated because they feel like they've gotten everything down on the checklist and it's still not working. And it's like, what do I do now? So my question to you is, have you ever been in a situation where you was well, made an assumption of what that person needed, delivered it, and then was like pissed off because it didn't work?
Yes, to answer your question, yes. And I don't think I was pissed off, but I felt a little, what's the word? Maybe like I wasted my time, a little resentful.
Hmm.
Like I had wasted my time, and a little embarrassed too, because when you've been in a situation for a while, you think you know. Like I know him, I know what he
Yeah.
like, I know, and we assume, like you said, that we know. And so I felt maybe embarrassed that I'm giving and doing. He like, nah, that's not it. You're doing too much. You're doing that, but that's not what I needed. I had a partner tell me that,
Yeah.
like, I see what you're doing, but that's not what I need. And I
Yeah.
was like, ooh, ouch, that hurt. But I never got to the point where I was so upset that I wasn't willing and open to say, okay, well, what is it
Right.
that you need? But I definitely have been there.
Yeah. I think early in my dating career, when I was a little young lad, I did too much. Like every relationship, like I was overdoing it. I thought I was
For
doing
sure.
the most, and then boom, they cheat on you, or boom, they like, yeah, okay, is that it? And I'm like, huh? What?
Maybe that's not that. You
Like
know?
what? Like this is because you know what I did. What I did was I gave them not necessarily what they needed or asked for. I gave them what I assumed that most women would want from a guy.
Yeah, I've given what I wanted too. What I wanted and how I wanted to be
Yeah,
loved, the voice that I needed to be filled, instead of just communicating that to them, I thought, and maybe even did it subconsciously sometimes as
yeah,
well. Like, okay, if I do this, he gonna come back with that, and then he'll understand. It's
yeah.
really, immature, but that's the way I handled it. And a lot of those voids and the things that I wanted, desires, weren't they had less to do with him and more to do with myself and other stuff that I needed to
There it
deal with.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That's a very good point that I didn't even think about. Is doing stuff that we want to do
Mhm.
for our own selfish, like we want the appreciation and everything. We're doing it for us. It's not
Right.
for them.
Right.
And I did a show last week about liars and how people live a total lie and it's not really them, but the partner thinks everything's cool.
Okay.
And sometimes
Okay.
when you are living that life like that, you're feeding the masked version of them with what that
Mm,
person needs, but the real them underneath that mask, it's like this ain't what I want, and then it still keeps
mhm.
blowing up. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
How that
Yeah.
works?
Yeah. Real crazy. But it's true. And I've been
Yeah,
there. And it's just wasted time and effort too.
yeah,
And you get to a certain age where it's like, yeah, we're not doing that. We're gonna communicate up and through here because this is crazy.
yeah. It's a tough space to be in
It
because
is.
you're pulling from a genuine place, an emotional
Yeah.
place. You're hoping that it's gonna, bring you together,
Mhm.
and then it's
Mhm.
like, nah, I'm good. I'm gonna tell you one of my biggest triggers is not feeling appreciated,
Oh
not
yeah.
even being told, because that's my primary love language is words of affirmation. Like I feel
Same.
like I do so much, and if you don't appreciate it, then we got a problem. I'm real
A
salty.
huge problem. I have packed up my stuff. Look, I'm finna tell all my business tonight. But I have packed my stuff in the middle of the night, huh? Because I didn't feel He didn't cheat. He didn't put his hands on me, but I just did not feel appreciated. And that's very important because it's like I this is me. When I feel appreciated, I'm willing to go above and beyond. I'm
Right.
willing, and maybe that's a little selfish. I don't know. But I think that's anybody, right? When you feel appreciated, whether it's a job, whether it's a relationship, you're gonna give it your all. But
Yeah.
when you feel like what you're doing is not, appreciated, or your efforts are being unnoticed, like you be like, I don't, what am I here for?
Yeah.
Why am I doing this? You give
Yep.
half an effort.
I think we done hopped all the way to the next bullet point that fast, didn't we? But that's okay because I'm good at what I do. Watch what I do here. So, um, so we talked about feeling unappreciated. We talked about giving kind of like your all to the partner, in order to try to connect with them or to try to understand. And a lot of times we do this anyway, but we double down on it sometimes when we know that there's some issues in the relationships because we're trying to fix it. And sometimes it's only one person trying to fix it. That's the problem. Uh, and the other
Yeah.
person is being resistant, and so you trying to do a whole calculus problem, trying to figure out like how do I get in? And then when it doesn't work, it's like, okay, now what? Because I'm doing it by myself. I've been there probably too many times to count. That's why when I tell my story, there was a pivotal point where I got so frustrated being that guy that I turned into the
Mhm.
total opposite guy, where I didn't give a damn about how you felt. I
Yeah,
just
yeah,
I don't even want to feel like that no more. So I'm gonna be a hard person. And the
right.
unfortunate thing about that is when I became that other person, it was like more people was attracted to it.
Like, I've
You
heard
know how
that.
some folks they like toxic.
I
They
heard that.
chase after
Yeah.
toxic. I was a toxic dude.
Yeah, I can definitely relate to that. I remember telling a former partner, I said, I wish I could be the woman I was before I met you. Because now after this, I'll never be the same. I'll never be as giving. I'll never be as open. I said that at that time, of course, because I was heartbroken. After
Yeah,
healing, it's all right. But I said that, and there are still parts of me, even on my journey of healing, because healing is a journey, that they aren't. It isn't the same.
yeah,
And
yeah,
there are parts of me that are closed, they're locked, throw away the key.
yeah,
And the person that I'm dating now, they have to work really hard, extra hard. Whereas before, those
yeah,
were areas that you just knock and I just let you in.
yeah,
It wasn't that hard. So it's unfortunate that that's kind of what happens to a lot of people. And then you have people out here that are out here, hoeing and all kinds of stuff because at some point they felt like I did everything I could and it wasn't enough. So now I'm just going to be this
yeah,
this guy or
yeah,
this girl.
yeah. It that's the part that sucks about leaving a relationship, being hurt, and all of that. Is the more it happens, the more it draws away from the original version of you, and
Yeah.
then now you out here like I'm about to be on the dating scene and I'm not even that person anymore. How do I navigate
Yes.
this? I'm a
Yeah.
little afraid to see what's gonna happen, so maybe I just won't do it. Like people make
Yeah.
those decisions every day. So yeah.
Every day.
So let's talk about this. This next part I want to do. We're gonna spend a little bit of time here because I hear this a lot. I have been hearing this even before I was a coach. And we talk about this topic a lot on the Real Shop Talk with the men. So I'm going to skew this. Well, let me read Erica's comment. Erica says, "Yes, sometimes we long to have that untainted version of ourselves when we were more open." Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah,
For sure.
absolutely. That, like I said, that's the part that sucks because it's like,
It sucks.
I know I'm better than this. I know I can do.
No, I'm
I
better.
used to do this, but now it's
If you
hard for
had
me to do
known
it.
me then.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That version of me that was, I want to say I was probably about 20, 21. That version is what most of these women that are like over 40, that's the type of dude they want. They like, yeah, I want this dude to be like this. And I'm like, yeah, I was him. I'm a lot of him now because I've grown and I've healed and whatever, but it ain't 100%. I don't think there's
Yeah,
any way that I could be that again. But I was really
I
like
agree.
on my P's and Q's back then.
Yeah, I
And they
agree.
was
And
like,
like,
you're too nice. I'm like,
right. What do you want?
So,
It sucks because I think it limits you from experiencing the love that you really desire, and it sucks for the people that are coming to your life into your life with genuine intentions that just want to love you, but they can't even get through that brick wall. It sucks, but
right.
it
So,
is what it is.
this next bullet point that I was alluding to, I'm going to skew it where I'm going to talk about the female directed to the male just for illustration. So, in this scenario, guys who are watching, there's a man and a woman in a relationship. The man isn't necessarily the best communicator. I know a lot of you can resonate with this. He isn't the best communicator. Um, as the woman, you want for him to share more about how he feels. You want for him to be more emotionally intelligent so that you can have a dialogue with him because you're giving him those parts of you. And in this scenario, you try a lot of different things to try to break through and it just doesn't work. He's not being vulnerable with you. He's being closed off and you want it so bad that you try to take it and you like, what's wrong with you? And why won't you tell me how you feel? So the first way I'm going to take this is I want you to either, stay whether you've been in a situation like this and kind of how it felt. And if not, then we can take it another way. But if you have dealt with that before, let us know.
Definitely. I went through that before, and the unfortunate part is I really loved this person. Like, I was like, after going through a relationship that was full of heartbreak, I thought I would never love again. Like, I'm done. And then I meet this individual unexpectedly, with no expectations and no, like, okay, this is gonna be it. No desire to date, just being friends. And I ended up falling in love. And he was the most amazing person. He checked off so many boxes and we just clicked and it was peace and it was just amazing. No
Mm-hmm.
drama, just great. And the only issue was his lack of vulnerability.
Mm-hmm.
And in the beginning, I thought, okay, I can do this. I got this. I can do this. I can be patient with him. I can kind of give him little hints and let him know. And we went through that song and dance for 2 years.
Mm.
2 years. Because I could not let go of like, okay, this is a great person. But I got to the point where I said, I need that. Like
Mm-hmm.
all of the other stuff doesn't cancel out my need for that vulnerability and that transparency, especially like you said, I'm giving my all. Someone who came into this or, before this thought I would never love again. Oh no, if I'm giving, you're going to have to give. And so we had a conversation and he asked me, he said, if I cannot give you the vulnerability that you are seeking, are you going to leave and find somebody else? Point
Mm.
blank, because it got that bad. And I was like, yeah. Well, he even got the question out good. I was like, yeah, I am, because I need that. Like I understand that it doesn't always come easy, especially for men. But for me, I couldn't totally understand or give him a pass because as a woman, I struggle. Still to
Mm-hmm.
this day, I struggle with vulnerability. I struggle with being expressive. I struggle with saying how I really feel. I'll do for you all day, but
Mm-hmm.
the word, saying things and being open and sharing how I really feel does not come easy for me. And so I'm like, if I'm pushing, you have to meet me halfway. Like you
Right.
have to.
Yeah. So my question is, in your quest to get the vulnerability out of him, what are some of the things you tried?
Um, Communication. I try, some other things that I can't mention here. um, I tried just to let him know how important it was. I tried sharing more.
Uh-huh.
I tried to because again it was hard for me. So he would bring it up, about me. So I said, well, maybe I share more and I'm more open. He will. I suggested therapy. I started individual therapy for myself to work on that. He talked about it, but he never started.
Mm-hmm.
So it never came to fruition. I prayed about it. I mean, everything you can think of, I did it, but it was up to him to make that decision that he wanted to work on that. And I just don't think he was ready to work on it. Um, In his case, it was a particular reason. You know, a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I have met a lot of men that have been divorced,
Mm-hmm.
and after they have had, not so great marriages, and they've been divorced, they're a little jaded, and that opening up is like they feel like that's a
Mm-hmm.
death. Like I can't do that again. And I think that that was the case for him. And in that instance, it's like, okay, that's a healing that you need.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing I can do, but I tried. I tried everything. But the biggest thing was being as vulnerable as I could and
Yeah.
working on me in hopes that he would follow suit.
Yeah. So I'm gonna speak to that. Just for and we've talked about this on the Real Shop Talk a few times, but I want to provide context to this for any women who may be dealing with this, and there's some men that deal with not being able to get the vulnerability out of their woman too, where the man is the one that's being vulnerable. That's very not mostly the case, but that does happen. So here's the thing, right? You're with a man, or the man that we're talking about in this scenario, and even the one that you were with. Um, Vulnerability is it's fragile like glass for a man, right? And as we move through our life, number one, most of us are trained not to do it at all. From a kid, we have to be a certain way. So it's already going to be tough for us to share. And women, a lot of times, some women want us to communicate emotionally similar to the way that you do.
Yeah.
But it's damn near impossible to do that for most men because we're trained to not share. So what happens is, along the path of our lives, it doesn't even have to be a divorce. We may take that risk to be vulnerable with someone, right? And a lot of men will say, I was vulnerable one time, and then she threw it back up in my face in an argument later. For most men, that's enough to stop that one time for the rest of your life.
Never.
You ain't
Yeah.
even gonna get it, right? Like ever. So
Yeah.
then, therein lies the problem. You find this amazing person, and they're not sharing, and you think it's about a lot of women think it's about you. Like, what am I doing wrong? And so then you trying to figure out how to get it out of him when it may be something that no one can do, right? You can send him to therapy. The therapy may unearth some stuff. That still doesn't mean he's going to be a great communicator, right? So
Right.
now you have this emotionally unavailable man in a full-blown relationship. And so what I always try to tell people, and this is what some things that because I'm a card carrying member, right? I had to evolve into someone who could openly share how I feel. The first thing that a lot of women need to understand is, number one, it's an extremely delicate space. So we always talk about safe space, be my peace, and all of this stuff, right? But the nuance about that is, you may not get it verbally.
Yeah.
You may see some physical things that he does that may give you some insight on how he's feeling. He may be, chilling in the recliner one day, 2 days, 3 days when he come home from work, and he might have never done that before. He's resting more. He's doing so now. You say, wait, there's a behavior change, right? As the woman, this is the mind.
For sure.
What's wrong, babe? What's going on? Something's different. You resting more. You're not really talking like you used to. Tell me how you feel. You hear the tone of my voice?
Yeah.
You tell me how you feel. I know something's wrong. No, everything's cool. No, something's definitely wrong. So now what you're doing is you're trying to force it out of someone
Force.
who has a
Yeah.
fragile glass vulnerability, right? So
Yeah.
the better approach would be to say, I know something's wrong, and when and if you are ready to talk about it, I will be available to you for that. So
Yeah.
now,
Right.
and you may not get it the first time or the fifth time, but you're allowing him grace to be in that moment
Yeah.
without feeling like he has to do, because it's hard. Men that are vulnerable like this, that weren't raised that way, which most of us I don't know about now, because these kids are real emo now. They just be like, yeah, I feel like, but back in the day,
Yeah. Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
that was like a soup, like you did not do it. And so it's a space that you have to navigate. And a lot of women say, I shouldn't have to, feed into him like that, like he's a kid. No, you got to realize that all of us got a little kid in us that's looking for
Correct.
validation. We do like, so when we're in relationships, that doesn't go away. It's still there. That's a very sensitive spot that we push down. When you allow the grace, when you say, I'm here for you when you're ready, or I'm here for you if you're ready, you still look at the behavior. The behavior always tells a story.
Exactly.
Always tells a story. You know something's wrong, but you don't want to attack. It's going to frustrate the hell out of you. But you got to realize he's not a chick.
Right.
So it's different. You're going to
Yeah.
want it real bad because we're in love. We've been together for 2 years. Like, you should know me by now. You know I don't mean you any harm. It's not about you. It's
But I
about,
also feel like it's a fragile state for us as a woman too. For me, because I don't like, really, like I said, that requires me to be even vulnerable to say I see something different. And I think someone brought that point up in the comments. Like for me to say, babe, something, are you sure you're okay? Your tone's a little sharp. That is a lot for me to even have to bring that up. So it's also a very fragile state for a woman to have to say that, because you already know it's fragile for him and that he's not going to want to talk about it.
mhm, mhm.
So it's fragile for both of us, and I think that's why it's super important to work on it together. Because I don't like having to say anything, but if I'm saying it, it's because I love you and I care.
Right.
And so I want to also bring up that point. Love
Yeah,
says she won't answer now.
the key is to go in and jump off. Don't just keep
Yeah,
going.
right,
Hey, I
right.
love you. I notice, you're rusting a little bit more than normal. Let me know if you need
Yeah,
me. Whatever you got to
yeah,
say to let them know that he has a safe place to land. It may take him some time to get there, but just keep doing it,
yeah.
because there's something either imposed from childhood, a previous
Hmm.
relationship, or whatever, that has nothing to do
Yeah.
with you, that he needs to feel like
Hmm.
he has a safe place to do
Face
that.
face.
And
Yeah,
then he may eventually come out and say, I think I'm
yeah,
feeling a little depressed.
yeah.
But we're
And it's
trained not to take.
sometimes
Yeah, go ahead.
And it's sometimes what we do as women. I think you said that earlier too. Sometimes because we don't always handle, their moments of vulnerability, even if they're not often.
Hmm.
I haven't thrown it in, my partner's face, but I may have, like, it's a facial expression. Like,
Hmm.
it's your demeanor when he does come to you
Hmm.
that is super important,
All of
because
that.
he may not ever say it, but you
All
look
of that.
upside his head or you rolling your eyes and you like,
Yep.
or you just, don't say anything. Because I've been like, well, I didn't say anything 'cause I don't want to say the wrong. All of that is
Yep.
important. So we do have
Yep.
to take accountability as to
And
how we.
it's unfortunate that it has to be that way, but that's the way it is. Like, I don't want to have to, be
It
I just
is.
want him to tell. No, he's a human being. And I hate to say it like this, but a lot of women don't understand the amount of pressure that a man has
Yeah.
to carry every day, knowing that
Mhm.
he's unable to let it go. We got to be
Yeah.
strong all the time. If we let it go, we might look like a punk. Like, in our head, we look weak. We've been
Mhm.
told this all our lives. Our boys,
Yeah.
everybody. Dan, what are you doing? So when you in a relationship where you're supposed to be vulnerable, it's a scary place. It's
Yeah.
scary
It's
for
just vulnerable.
women
Yeah.
too, but y'all, a lot of y'all, not everybody, because I know some of y'all been through some things. Y'all, and men cry, but y'all have been given the grace to do it because you're a woman. We got to suck it up and try to be fake strong for 30 years, 40 years. You meet me at age 40 and you trying to pull something out of me that's been trained for 40 years, you're not going to
Yeah.
get it today. That's just, it's
Yeah.
unfortunate, because you like, I love him more than anything, and I know he loves me and he does everything he's supposed to do, but that right there, and when you do the face and all of that, like, that moment,
Yeah.
you just destroyed it. Now it's gone.
Yeah.
And
You're
it's
gonna
not
replay
like you
that
got to
moment
do
every
that
time.
face. Yeah, it's not like you got to do it 10 times. You only got to do it once. That's how delicate it is.
Yeah.
And once you because I'm not like that because I tend to communicate a little bit better than most. But like I go on these forums like on TikTok and stuff, and it's like, you know, hey men, when is the last time you felt appreciated or able to talk? And that thing be like 1,000 dudes, and they all saying the same thing. Never. I did it one time, and they threw it in my face, and I ain't never doing it again. They all saying the same thing. So if all of these, and this, it's almost kind of like a poll. Like I look at the statistics, and I'm like, I'm waiting for somebody to say yes, I do, and maybe like one out of that 500 or 1,000, and I'm like, either they all lying, or there's something to this.
And I always say if everybody's saying it, everybody ain't lying. Okay.
Yeah. So
Is there a way to correct that though? If is there, I know this is your show, but I'm asking as
no,
someone
go
who really
ahead.
wants to.
We
As a
here.
woman, is there a way once you've done that? Say he came to you and he was vulnerable and you did not handle it correctly, and you're aware
Uh
and you
huh.
take accountability for that.
Uh huh.
Is there a way to correct that? Because in my experience, no, it didn't matter what I said, it didn't matter what I did. It was a wrap. You
So
know.
it's a couple of things you can do, right? Let me read some of the comments because I don't want family to think I'm not paying attention to them. Love Tucker says, he might jump down your throat when you say wrong. If I encounter that, I may say I noticed something different. Yeah, yeah. You don't want. Okay, so you don't want to put a man in a position where he even feel like he can jump down your throat. That's why I say you got to come in with grace, right? So you could say I noticed something. Like for an example, you could say I noticed something different. I know you've been working hard, at work. Your boss has been doing this. I'm gonna go ahead and let you have your time. Just stay right there. If you need to talk about it, I'm here. And let it go. Don't be like, just tell you acting different. As long as he ain't doing nothing crazy like whipping your ass and cheating, let that man sit in the chair.
That'd be, yeah.
So I hate to say it like that, but let if he's been doing all of the stuff he's supposed to do, and he starts like a lot of this behavior changes have to do with like stress, anxiety, depression, but we can't illustrate that because we've been told to don't do it. So the first thing you can do, if it doesn't work, as long as whatever the event happened doesn't make y'all like mortal enemies,
Right.
the next time that the opportunity presents itself, then you introduce the grace then. And then you introduce the grace the next time and create a pattern that shows him that you're not going to react the same way so that he can trust again, right? That could break through the ice. The second thing is you may have to go to a third party that can actually, play the Rosetta Stone and try to show you where the deficits are in the communication, because a lot of times when we react to each other, we take it as a personal attack, and now we don't even want no parts of it no more. It don't even have to be about vulnerability. I just don't even like the way that felt. That person raised their voice, and now, you know what? Let me see. Okay, they raised their voice because I know I use this a lot because they didn't take the trash out. And then it's about how you use the words. Why didn't you take the trash out? Versus, babe, the trash needs to be taken out. Now it's not about me. It's about the house needs the trash to go out. So now, if you attack me, it's personal now. So now, even though it's a responsibility of mine to take the trash out, I'm now grabbing the trash like, let me just do this so she can shut up. It ain't even about the trash being taken out now. It's about I don't want the reaction. So now every time you react, I'm gonna find a way around it. We're not fixing it. And so now you come 2 months later, you want me to be vulnerable? Nah, I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah. What I hear is responding versus reacting. And I think sometimes, as women, some women, we do struggle with that. But that's
Yeah.
what I hear is not reacting to what you see or what you hear, but responding. And sometimes it takes like taking a moment. And
Yep.
that's what I just heard. Like take a moment and then,
Yep.
address whatever it is. And something you said too about like the taking the trash out example, because I had this situation where the ex had said, if you tell me to do it, I ain't doing it. If you have to bring it up, I'm not doing it, And
Yeah.
so I had to like change and do like positive, I call positive reinforcements, where when he would take out the trash, oh, but okay, man, like hyping him up, and then that's all that. So I like that. I like
Yeah,
that.
and there's another thing that I talk about all the time, and some of the people that I connect with, they ended up giving it, they coined a phrase, and they call it an emotional prenup. And so it's like when you go into a relationship during the honeymoon phase, y'all haven't argued yet. You know you're going to probably be with this person for long term, hopefully. And then you say, before you get to that tumultuous argument, you say, you know what, honey, one day we're going to argue. And it's probably not going to feel good to one or both of us. Before we get there, let's talk about how we're going to engage each other when that happens so that we don't hurt each other. What type of person are you when you normally argue? Do you need to go to a separate room, or do you want to handle it right now? If both of y'all are both handle it right now, people, handle it right now. If normally what happens is one in the other. And so when one person wants to go somewhere, the other one's running like, wait, where you going?
Yeah.
Where do you?
Yeah. But
So
that's good. That's actually one of the first questions I've asked in dating is how do you handle conflict, arguments, and disagreements? Like, do you yell? Do you throw stuff? Do you break stuff? Do you leave? You know, I need to know. Do you need space? Do you need me to pull in? Like, that's great.
yeah.
Ask
It
those
took me
questions.
it took me most of my life to understand that. And even recently, like this year, I the technical, there's a technical piece to that too. The type of person that needs to go separate, there's a physiological changes that go on in your body that separation allows for that to subside so that you can
Yeah,
speak.
yeah.
I just thought that they just didn't want to be bothered. It's
Me
literally
too.
something that goes on in your body that if I run after you and try to press you to do it, it gets worse and worse to the point where you want to kick my ass.
Yeah. And I'm looking at how we end up with all this broke up stuff. Yeah, if they say they need space, give them the space.
Yep.
And I
Yep.
didn't know that either.
Yeah.
But again, it goes back to sometimes we're selfish and we just want what we want. Like, talk to me, let me fix it. But in that moment, it's not just about you and what you want
Yep.
to hear and how you
Yep.
want the outcome to be. It's
Yep.
not about. It's not.
Yep.
It's not all of this. It's not just about you.
Yep. That's one of the biggest lessons because I want to fix it now.
Me
While you
too.
running, you don't want to talk about. So you're running, so you're separating from me. Like this is how you
Me.
fix things. And I'm like, no, they need that. Like people need that time for those physiological things to kind of hamper down. And people notice when you give them that time, if you run after them, it takes a long time for them to come back. If you don't do that, that turnaround time is way quicker.
You talking right. You
These are
talking
the
right.
things
I know.
that I did, we had to figure out by trial and error. But now that I know it, I be shouting from the rooftops like, wait, no. let that person go in the room and close the door and just let them breathe for
Yeah.
a minute. They're not
Yeah.
going anywhere. They're not going to leave. Y'all probably live together or something. They're not going nowhere for real. They need to calm down. And the
Same.
people that do it will tell you, I just need a minute. When you don't give it to them, it's like Beirut up in there.
Yeah. And usually it also shows how much someone loves you and cares about you, that they know that they need to take a moment instead of just unleashing
Yes,
on you
yes,
in that
yes,
moment.
yes.
So
Absolutely.
I can
Absolutely.
respect that because it's like you love me enough to say, you know what, I could, but I'm gonna walk away and we're
Yep.
gonna address this later.
Yeah, yeah. This is one of the areas, and I know we may be on a slight tangent, but I really don't care. This is good. This is good combo. Because the last bullet point is about you getting to that point where you just want to be done. Like, damn the love, I'm out. But we're not gonna go there just yet. We're gonna stay here for a minute. I want to read some of these comments. Triumphant TV, Tony Watts from the Real Shop Talk. He says, talk to him how you want to be spoken to. Love Tucker said, I admit it is good that that he's a male child. It has helped me to adjust what I'm saying and how I'm saying it. Yeah, I'm gonna talk about that in literally 2 seconds. She said it's true. Leave me alone for 10 to 15 minutes if you don't want this to go left. Yeah. Oh, and when it goes left, it goes
It
way
goes
left.
left.
And here's the
You
thing.
hear me?
Here's the side effect to that though. If I'm pressuring you and you need the time and I don't give it to you and then it goes left, guess what you're gonna do? You're gonna hurt me back.
Yes, indeed.
And
Gonna
now
hurt you, man. Gonna have your feelings hurt
yeah,
too. I
yeah,
can't believe you said that. I
yep,
can't believe. Oh my God. They told you they needed to walk away.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And that right there is the catalyst. If you go down the trajectory, now you have two people that could have figured out how to engage each other, and now they divorced
Yeah.
because it just escalates over time because you don't resolve it. You don't know how. A lot of people don't know how to.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know, and it sucks because if I charge you, you're gonna charge me back just to get me off your back, and now I'm hurt. Now we got two people. Now I'm sitting in the driveway for 30 minutes before I come in the house. Now I'm probably gonna go out
Listen.
with the boys a few more times because I really don't
Yeah.
want to. I don't want to be in there now.
Yeah.
That's
Or
how that
just
starts.
completely, or just completely, be out here doing stuff I don't need to be doing outside of this relationship. You know what
Yep.
I'm saying?
Yep.
And like you said, it's preventable. And that's what like I had to tell myself in relationships. Like this could have been prevent when you sit back after the dust has settled and you reevaluate these moments and you're able to say, you know what, I could have just said it differently. I could have waited. I could have given him his space. You know how like, I have felt so stupid. Like that could have been avoided. We did not have to argue tonight. We could have ate and went to bed. Like why did they have to go there? So I think we have to think about that more. Like, do I want this to go this way? Because history has shown if I don't give him his space, it's going to be like this or her space.
Yep.
Or do I just want peace tonight? You
Yep.
know?
Yep. Yeah. It's a lot to navigate, but it's really like it. Go, if you went in with the tools, that's why I
Yeah,
became a coach because I was like,
that's good.
if I can give you the tools before the train wreck, man. It's so many
Yeah.
people. Like I say this so much. It's so many people that are genuinely good people that are together, and it just destroys itself just because of communication problems.
Yeah.
And then they got to
That's
go
good.
back and date again and try to find somebody else when they probably could have worked.
Yeah. Listen, listen, all because they didn't have the tools, like you said. That's
Yeah,
so good. A lot of us don't have the tools. We weren't raised to have the tools. We didn't see it. We just we didn't have it. And so it's unfortunate that you get to 20s and 30s and 40s even. It's like, huh, I don't know what I thought I knew. This is why no relationship has been successful. Like I had that aha moment at 30 and I was like, ooh, like I don't have it. And this is why he
yeah,
left. And this is why he would act because of my tone or whatever. That accountability piece, it really drew me to, okay, let me go get the therapy. Let me go get the tools that I need because I do
yeah,
not want my relationships to continue to fail because of me.
yeah, yeah. It's just it's these little nuances of just even realizing that the other, like my co-host Gunter Man always says, that other person is not you. That if you even if people just understood that,
Yeah. Yeah.
that changes a lot because we're very self-centered humans. Like we want people to care as much as we care, to hurt like we hurt,
Yeah.
to be mad like we're mad, and like I'm a real even keel person. I used to be in relationships where it was like, so you not gonna be mad too? And I'm like, I am mad. I just don't show it like you. Nah, you not mad. And I'm like, hold on, man. Now we in a whole argument because I'm not showing.
Now I'm
I'm
mad.
not looking like this. It's they little stupid things. And as a man, I'm gonna hold on to that. She just yelled at me. Nah, and I'm not gonna resolve it. I'm just gonna avoid it next time. Like, oh, you got it, babe. Go ahead and do you.
Yeah, my partner used to always say, "You're not me," and I would say, "Yeah, but you're not." And he would say it over and over until I was like, "Okay, he's right. He's not me. He doesn't see this the way I saw. He don't get it. He don't under. You know,
Yeah,
he not you. You not him." And especially with women, like you said earlier, we want him to react like our homegirls would. Like if we tell them something that happened at work and we mad about it, girl, if that was me, I would have. So when we go to our partners, we're waiting on that, and he's
yep.
just like, I don't. Okay, so what were you mad about? We expect us out of them, and that's just
Yeah,
never going to happen.
yeah. And so just to frame this back to the title of the show, all of the stuff that we're talking about, it gives into the fact that throughout all of these altercations and nuances in our heads, we think that we're doing everything that we're supposed to do to
Okay.
fix it. Even if that means it's to the detriment of our relationship, in our head, we're the hero. In our head,
Yeah.
we're trying to figure it out. And it's really not about, to me, it's really not about a magic formula as it is taking the time to really watch, listen to your partner, and really understand the nuances about them. Because it's
Yeah.
not going to be the same from person to person. Everybody's gumbo is different. Everybody's made up of different stuff, so you have to really, you got to really look at the things that happen, the behavior change. If you see a behavior change, oh,
Yeah.
so you stayed at work an extra 2 minutes. Who's that be? Hold on, man.
Right.
Where'd that
Yeah.
come from, right? Like, so it's like you, so like, let's say, for an example, let's say that was the scenario, and then the man says, okay, I'm going to make sure that I'm not 2 minutes late from work every day, and I'm going to make sure he's not doing that because he feels like he needs to. He's doing it to shut you up. So now we have another breakdown in communication that's never going to get resolved because he's making you shut up instead of engaging. And we need to, like I always say on my show, communication with the person that you love more than anything on the planet should not be hard.
Should not.
It should
It
not be.
shouldn't.
Why we afraid to tell our partner certain things. That doesn't even compute.
Yeah. And I had to tell myself this when I learned that I was not doing or being what he needed. I had to learn this. It's not a personal attack, and it doesn't make you a bad person, doesn't make you a bad woman or man when someone you love brings something to your attention because they could just leave. Okay? They could just go and cheat. They could just, if they come to you or you see something or they're telling you what they need, be grateful. That's a blessing because everyone doesn't have the ability to communicate that or to share that. And so I want to say that too because I think I've experienced this as the person who had a partner that was offended or thought it was a personal attack. And then I've been the person that was offended or felt like, oh,
Yeah.
dang, like I'm not enough. He doesn't, it's
Yep.
like, no, think about it. They love you enough to share that with you when they could have just bounced, when they could have
Yep.
said, she ain't doing this, she ain't doing that, so I'm out. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
It's a blessing to have someone who comes to you. So don't take that for granted
Yeah.
and be
Yeah.
open and willing to do whatever it takes, like you said, to make it work. Because listen, you don't want to be out here trying to figure it out. It's not the pickings of you, okay? It's some good people out here, but the whole rigmarole, everybody ain't there yet. So if you have someone that's willing to share and willing to work on it with you, you better make it work.
Yep. And I'm gonna piggyback on that. We're gonna hit this last bullet point and then we're gonna wrap it up because we don't want you up past your bedtime. So, here's the thing about relationships, to piggyback off of what you said about being open. The most open period in your relationship is the beginning, right? For most people. So it's paramount that you talk about all of these things and how you handle conflict while you're in that space.
Yeah.
If you do that, then it is very likely that that partner will continue to feel safe. And if that man is an emotionally unavailable person, he's more likely to share with you if you you're going to have arguments, but it's how you resolve them and how you come out of it. Are you coming out of it hurt? Are you coming out of it resentful? And how many years are you going to stay in that mode underneath the skin and pretend like everything's cool? If you could start off having disagreements and arguments that don't hurt, you're attacking the problem, not the person, blah, 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 then you're more likely to have a more vulnerable dialogue with the person because what you're doing when you do that is you're establishing trust. You're establishing trust between each other that you're not going to hurt my feelings. I know that's a taboo thing for a man to say, but those arguments be hurting our feelings. And we don't know how to regulate,
Yeah.
like Tony Watts always says, like we when we are yelled at, talked to a certain way, we only know one way to come out of that. Like we don't know how to, like, we're not trained that way. We gotta figure it out, but we don't know how to engage in that way. So we're gonna be defensive or we gonna shut down. Those are the two modes.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
it.
I know. Out of there.
Engaging it head on and talking through it and trying to fix it, that's last on the list. So if you create
Mhm.
a safer space early, then you get there faster.
Yeah. I love what you said too about the emotional, what did you say? The emotional prenup.
Yeah.
I think that's super important because
Yep.
it's having like a war. What is it? How they prepare? Like you have the tactics to that when you are at odds, you know how to
Yep.
you know what to refer to.
Yep.
Something
Yep.
for reference. That is what I'm
Yep.
trying to
Mm-hmm.
say. You have a reference point
Yep.
as to okay, how do we deal with this? Because like you said, when you're in the heat of that battle, you're not thinking. You just
Nope.
trying to
Nope.
win.
And once you
Yeah.
get
So
those first few hurts in,
it's a
you
wrap.
and you don't resolve it, it doesn't like we think it. We let's just have some makeup sex and wake up tomorrow and it's cool. Nah,
Mm-mm.
nah,
Nah, it's coming
nope.
up again.
I say it again.
It's coming up again. Huh?
Yeah,
As my
yeah.
grandmama
It's
say, it's
gonna
coming
come
up
out
again.
one way or another, and I know like women and men do it. You'll be a year down the line, and your reaction is just a little extra, and the other person is like, "Yo, like what?" And then
Right,
and
right.
then you find out it's from 20 conversations ago, and it's
Yep.
all coming out now.
Because last time when I yes, yes, for
I had a
sure.
guest that talked about that. She used to go off on her husband every time that he did forget the trash. She would go
Mm,
off, and she had to really like, and she would see his reaction, and she had to sit
mm,
herself down and say, "Yo, is this really about the trash? Because this is a little
listen.
like she would be on 10 about the
Hmm.
trash."
Yeah.
Like, and it wasn't like every week that he forgot. It would be like 1 out of 20 or whatever. And she would be
Mm,
like, she would literally like berate him and go off. That's number one problem. But I'm just saying, it's coming from somewhere else.
somewhere else. Yeah.
Tony
Ooh.
Watt says makeup sex is a start. So so anyway, so let's get to this last piece real. We gonna jump on it real quick. So when someone gets to the point where they're so frustrated and they're so tired of trying and they feel like they've done everything that's possible to the point where they just want to leave the relationship. Do you think that, and we kind of talked about some of the ways that you could solve it, but do you think that if a person feels like they've done everything that they possibly can do and they are at a point where they want to leave the relationship, do you think that that person is well within their rights to leave, or do you think that there's still maybe a chance? Like, because we're not talking about like domestic violence or cheating or anything like that. We're just talking about a person that's just fed up with trying to connect
Yeah.
to the topic of the show, trying to connect for so long that they're spent. So, do you think that that's something that can be redeemed, or is it a point where you get where it's really no coming back from it?
I guess I'm the wrong person to ask because I've done the okay, I'm spent, I don't have any more, and I left. But I started to feel like I wasn't entitled to leave because maybe I wasn't patient enough. Maybe, I didn't fully even get the backstory of why he's even like this. And so I came back into the relationship to give it another try and to try to work on some things and try some other avenues, and it still didn't work. So
Yeah.
now I say, I feel like if there is anything, something that you need, whether it be a lack of vulnerability, communication, if it's something that you genuinely need from your partner and they cannot give it to you, and they're not willing to try even,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not talking about somebody who's trying, but they're
Right.
not willing to try, why would you? That's a void and a deficit that you then have because
Yep.
they're not trying. And so then what are
Yep.
we doing here?
Yep. Yep. And I always, on this end of my life, and even what I do in coaching, I always, for couples that want to work it out and make it better, I always talk about going to therapy, getting some kind of a coach, not to necessarily fix the relationship, but to give you some tools that you can manage it better. It's really all about the tools. whether you at the beginning of a relationship, the middle, or whatever the tumultuous stuff, you put some good tools in there. It's I believe it, as long as the two people are compatible and whatever, I think that there's redeeming qualities that you can have as long as both people are willing. You put in some new tools, you have somebody else say, "Hey, my man, nah, that's not what she meant when she said that." And once you, sometimes people, it's just like a little kid. Like we always talk about the little kid in us. It's like a little
Yeah.
kid. They might not listen to their parents, but then that football coach may say, "Yo, don't do that," and then they be like, "Okay, I won't do it." So sometimes they need to. Sometimes some people so used to hearing that same voice that they tune it out, even in a
Right.
relationship. And sometimes you need to shake them a little bit and say, "Hold on, man. This is how she's feeling. I need you to
Yeah.
see that." And then it's like the light bulb goes off. I've seen this happen with so many men. Like as a coach, I'll be talking about a topic and then they would hit me on the side and be like, "Man, I never looked at my wife like that. I'm about to go home and have a conversation with her." And I'm like, it's just that little catalyst where this person was ready to leave.
Yeah.
So it's a lot, man. The stuff we do, and like you said at the beginning of the show, you just like helping people. It doesn't take a lot to have a heart to try to help people and give them your experience. That's what we do here.
Yeah.
That's what our community of people that we're building is doing here is we're all going on each other's shows. We're sharing our lives, our inspiration, our things that trigger people.
Okay.
People always talk about me
Yeah.
being the king of triggers, but I'm like, if you don't know where the triggers are and those hard points, how do you work on fixing them? But this is I always feel like if both people are willing to work it out, and a lot of times you can have somebody else to come in and look
Yeah.
at it from a bird's eye view that there's some redemption, unless all of the stuff you've been through, if it's been years, it's broken you down to the point of you just done, then go ahead and let it go. But if you still love that person, get you some tools. That's always gonna
Yeah.
be my thing. And it's not even because I'm a coach. Those tools, if I'd have had those tools, I'd have saved myself a lot of heartache, man, over the years.
The tools and the space to just be, because sometimes when it's just you two and nobody's hearing each other
Yep.
and you're trying to get your point across and they are, to
Yeah.
me, when you have a third party and most of the time you're not at home or whatever, you have this, it creates
Yeah.
a space, a safe space
Yep.
where you get to say everything you need to say without them interrupting, and vice versa.
Yep.
And I think it was my friend Arvin. He does um, premarital counseling. He was saying I've never seen a topic that wasn't brought up in therapy. Like they couldn't bring it up at home, but in that space, for some reason, he's like, it makes it easier for
Yep.
people to
Yep.
share.
Yep.
And so I think it just, it gives you tools, and it provides you a safe
Yeah,
space.
yeah, absolutely. And I did a show a while ago, and then I'm gonna read a couple of these comments, and then we're gonna wrap it up. I did a show called "Are You Living in a Haunted House?" And all of that turmoil lives in that house. All of the trauma, all of the triggers lives in that house. And while you're existing in that space, even though you may not be having an argument, you could be in a room where y'all had it out, and it still feels. That's why a
Yeah.
lot of times when people been together for a while, they go to a hotel, 10 minutes down the road, and it feels like the world just came
Yeah.
off.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's good. I never thought about that. That's good,
yeah,
and that's very
it
true.
does.
Still tense in the
Yeah,
house. Still tense in
it's
certain rooms.
it made me think about it. That the reason why I came up with it is because it wasn't even about relationships for me. It was about my business and like being in this office and all of the stress and the trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
And then sometimes people can go to Starbucks with their laptop, and then it's like, whew, and now it's like, okay, now I can think. So it's really
Yeah.
about getting in a space where you can change the energy. I don't know what you got to
The
get
energy,
sage or
yeah.
whatever the hell you got to do. Get it in and clear that energy up out of there because it stays there.
Yeah.
Like it's so many times where I was in this thing like this, like, oh my God, what am I going to do? And every time I come in here, I'm sitting in front of the computer like, I know I'm supposed to be doing something. Oh my God. And it's like your body remembers it. And it's the same thing that
Very
happens in
true.
relationships. Your house becomes a third member of the argument, and you don't even
That's
realize
very
it.
true. I never
Yeah,
thought about that, but energy lasts, energy lingers, and that's why I'm always careful about who I have in my home.
Yep.
You know, because
Yep.
it's very, very true. I like that. All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
I took some notes too tonight. I listen, I done learned some things. Okay.
This was good though. This was good. Tony Watt says, "I hate you for that show." Yeah, everybody talks about that haunted house show, because it's true. Like a lot of us have been there, and it really affects how you move around. And sometimes that house is so haunted that you don't even want to come home. You be trying to find
Okay.
ways to stay outside.
Been
So
there.
let me read a couple of these, and then we out of here. TK's Chronicle of a Black Sheep says, "I would ask for a minute, and he wouldn't give me that, so he would try." He would try and fix it. His fix was always something sexual. Yeah, yeah. This happens a lot. And she said it became a major turnoff for her.
Yeah.
I definitely get that. Let's see. I think I'm gonna stop there. So yeah, this was good.
It was
This was good.
good.
We had some good dialogue. We done went to Mexico, came back, went to New
Listen.
York, came back. So, but it's cool though. That's why I said when I told you before the show, we go by the
Mhm.
bullet points, but sometimes it goes some places. But I
Yeah.
think
I've
that
enjoyed it.
yeah, I think that happens for a reason because I think divine intervention says somebody listening needs to hear it.
Needs this.
So
Yeah.
when I go on
Yeah.
my tangents, I don't beat myself up. I'm like somebody needed to hit somebody on here needed to hear it. So
Right.
sometimes it's me.
No, for real. I
Yeah.
need to hear a lot of stuff. I'm like, okay, put this in your phone so you can go back to this and make sure you watch this again because yeah.
So again, this was good. I enjoyed this show. You made it easy. Anybody on here that's a part of our community, um, she has a podcast. They have podcasts. Let's share the love and be each other's guests and share whatever we need to share. That's what we're doing this for. I just had a conversation with a couple of gentlemen on the Real Shop Talk this week. Like, as a community, if we're not collaborating and helping each other build, then what are we doing?
Right.
What are we
Right.
doing? So we gotta, help each other and do this. And I think a lot of us are doing a good job. Like I did your show, you doing my show. Somebody on here is gonna want you on their show now that they heard you speak. Cause you remember, I forgot what I said about you when I first talked to you. I said brutally honest, elegance, or
I
something like
have an
that.
elegant way of being
Of being
brutally honest.
brutally honest. Yep, yep, yep. And that still holds
This
true
is so true.
because no matter where the conversation went, you was real measured in your responses. So
For
so
sure.
I stand by that. Queen Cole says great show. Um, she said go get a singing bowl. Yeah, I had that singing bowl, and I think I still have it, but it didn't. Don't. I'm not saying don't get it, but it didn't do that for me. It really. I learned some things about myself though, trying to meditate and just trying to. It's a lot of things that people are like, "Oh my God, you need to go do this," and I was like, "No, I can't listen to the ocean water crashing. It doesn't really calm. Some people it calms. It calms me down if I'm at the actual real ocean, sitting by the real ocean. Yeah, but listening to it on an MP3, nah, I can't. I can't. But the singing bowl makes that noise. And then
That gets
people
on
are
my
like,
nerves after a while. Mm-mm.
I tried it, and I was just like, man, let me turn some music on. So anyway,
Okay.
yeah. So let people know where they can find you, and if you have anything coming up, whatever you want to share.
Absolutely. So the easiest way is to go to Instagram, at the Ever Evolving Podcast, and if you click on the link in the bio, of course, everything is there. We're on YouTube, Facebook, all of the places. The next episode, I believe we have. Oh, I'll be on So Problematic podcast on Tuesday
Hmm.
at 12 p.m. Eastern, I believe. And then the week after will be another episode, and we're going to have a women's panel to kind of counter the men's panel that you were on about a week ago. So yeah, just go to
Cool,
Instagram. Everything is there.
cool, cool, cool. Sounds amazing. So we definitely gonna have you back. I'm gonna have to figure out how to fit you in somewhere, but we gonna have you back at some point, maybe on a panel.
Okay.
I need to do a panel soon because I haven't done one in a while on my show. So anyway, we out of here, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for coming, staying, and commenting, and asking questions, and giving your testimonies. It means everything. And as usual, you can go to the relationshipgumbo.info to get all your information about where I'm going to where I'm going to be every week, because I try my best to stay booked and busy and trying to share this knowledge and this noggin of mine. So people, just stay connected. Make sure you follow her on Instagram. She posting all these different things she's doing, and it's all pretty and pink and white, and it just looks amazing. and yeah, just follow her. And we're gonna get out of here. Make sure you take care of yourselves, your families, and stay safe and all that good stuff. And we will see you next time. Thank you, everybody.
Okay, everybody wants good love, that's true, I know. Derrick Jones about to break it down with the relationship gumbo. Welcome to the podcast. Ain't no doubt we all need this, ayy, cause better relationships need better ingredients, ayy. So if you want better relations, it's about communication, finding love, staying together. We all wanna make it better, yeah. Derrick Jones, the host, your relationship coach. Thank you all for tuning in. Relationship gumbo.